I've been talking a lot about becoming a machine learning engineer, the roadmap, the coding, the things I'm learning, but there's a lot I haven't really talked about, the actual struggle of trying to do this. Because honestly, learning the technical stuff isn't the only challenge I'm dealing with. There are four things constantly fighting against me: electricity, finances, time, and focus. And there's another problem underneath all of them. I've built so many bad habits over the years that sometimes it feels like my brain is just running on autopilot. And that's probably the hardest thing I'm trying to change. Let's start with something very practical: electricity. It sounds like a small problem until you are trying to spend several hours every day programming. My laptop needs power, internet access needs power, and when the electricity goes out, whatever I had planned for the day can basically get interrupted. It's difficult to build consistency when your environment isn't consistent, and this is something I have had to learn. You can't always control your circumstances, so the question becomes, what can I control? Can I prepare when electricity is available? Can I download resources beforehand? Can I structure my work so that some tasks don't require an internet connection? Can I use the time without power for something else? And I don't want electricity to become an excuse, but I also don't want to pretend it is not a real constraint. Then there's money. This is probably one of the biggest realities behind this journey. Learning isn't completely free. There are computers, internet, electricity, softwares, courses, transportation, and even food. And life doesn't just stop because you decided to become a software engineer. There are still bills, there are still responsibilities, and sometimes you have to make decisions based on what you can actually afford rather than what would be ideal. That's one of the reasons this journey isn't just about learning how to code. I'm also trying to build a life that gives me enough stability to keep learning, and sometimes that's really difficult. Then there's time. Everyone has 24 hours, but not everyone has the same 24 hours. It's very easy to look at someone online who is spending 8 or 10 hours a day learning and think I should be doing that too. But real life doesn't work that way. There are responsibilities, there are unexpected problems, there are days when things don't go according to plan, and I have had to stop thinking about productivity as how many hours did I sit at my computer, but instead I'm trying to ask, did the time I had actually move me forward? Because 5 focused hours can be more valuable than 10 hours of pretending to work. Which brings me to my biggest problem: focus. This one is different because sometimes I have the time, I have the laptop, I have the electricity, I have the resources, and somehow I still don't do the work. That's the part that's very difficult to admit. And I think the reason is that I have built a lot of bad habits: constantly consuming content, switching between tasks, looking for stimulation, starting something and then jumping to something else. And after doing that for long enough, it starts to feel automatic. I don't even consciously decide to get distracted anymore. I just do it. Sometimes it genuinely feels like my brain is on autopilot. I sit down intending to code, then I check something, then I check another thing, then I watch something, then I tell myself I'll start in 5 minutes, and suddenly 1 hour is gone. The scary part isn't just losing 1 hour. The scary part is realizing that you didn't consciously choose to lose it. You just follow the pattern you have repeated hundreds of times. And that's something I'm trying to change. Not just my schedule, not just my productivity system, my default behavior. And I think that's what makes this journey harder than expected. I thought the biggest challenge would be learning Python, then mathematics, then machine learning, then algorithms, and obviously those things are difficult. But there's another layer. I have to become the kind of person who can consistently sit down, focus, struggle with something difficult, and keep going. Because if I can't do that, doesn't matter how good my roadmap is, doesn't matter how many courses I have, doesn't matter how many AI tools I use, doesn't matter how many tutorials I bookmark, I still won't make progress. So I'm trying to approach this differently. I'm not trying to completely transform myself overnight. I'm trying to identify the behaviors that keep sabotaging me, reduce distractions, create better routines, make it easier to start working, use AI to make my learning process more efficient, plan around the constraints I actually have, and most importantly, stop relying on motivation, because motivation is unreliable. Some days I'll feel motivated, some days I won't. The goal is to build a system where I can still make progress when I don't feel like it. And that's the honest truth. I don't have this figured out. I'm still struggling with these things. Some days aren't productive, some days are productive. Sometimes I follow the plan, sometimes I completely fall off it. And I'm not making this video because I've solved the problem. I'm making it because this is part of the journey too. The internet makes it very easy to show the finished product, the successful project, the job offer, the certificate, the I am a machine learning engineer moment. But nobody starts there. There are thousands of boring days before that. Days where electricity goes out, days where money is tight, days where you don't have enough time, days where your brain wants to do everything except the thing you actually need to do. And I'm currently living in those days. So yes, I'm trying to become a machine learning engineer, but I'm realizing that I'm actually working on two things at the same time. I'm building technical skills and rebuilding myself. I'm trying to become more disciplined, more focused, more deliberate, less controlled by whatever happens to grab my attention. And honestly, I don't know how long that's going to take, but I know that if I don't fix that part of myself, the technical journey is going to be much harder than it needs to be. So that's where I am right now. Still learning, still struggling, still making mistakes, still trying to get better, one day at a time.